And we've got two teams that are right up there, FM against the working men, and it's going to be interesting to see how this one unfolds. A couple of big names from the good old days, maybe a decade's worth of experience, some of these players. So, yeah, it's going to be good to see how this one unfolds.
I'm too young to know about decades worth of experience. I've got, less than a quarter of that. Fortunately, I'm not going to be on the server though, so we are all sorted in that sense. And yeah, no, you're talking about you've seen some close games. I think the whole tournament's looking pretty close at the moment. I was taking a look at the standings earlier, and there are only two teams that seem fairly low at the moment. Again, though, it's best of twos. There is still a chance for, I think, anyone to really come back into it and at least put up a respectable performance. But anyway, we're going to be into the pistol round now, and we are going to be seeing the working men setting themselves up towards B, as one might expect. Paz going in to see what he can do. Manages to get the spot out with the help of a flash. Doesn't find a frag, but it's going to be a lot of information gained for FM here.
Yeah, certainly going to be looking to get control of that drop down if they can. Vertigo already leading the charge for the working men. He's going to be getting the AWP up, I would expect. And he was looking in pretty fine form with the long gun last time we watched him last week. As Huxley, he's on low HP, might be in a bit of trouble from the doors. And you think that, looking the way they've got it set up, they should be able to get this first round on the board, the working men.
I mean, fairly easily. All they've got to do now is defend, and as long as they don't do anything too silly, it's not going to be a problem. They've got their angle set up, they've got the afterplants, and they're just finding the frags as well. Now just Mirozino left, and he's going to be dropped by Cryptics with a beautiful headshot to finish it off. So, as you said, nice first round, fairly easy first round. Now they have to convert. And I think a lot of this is up to FM, especially on the CT side. You do tend to be able to get that buy up, you do tend to be able to get some fairly decent guns out, so we might see them in with a chance, and they're going to be doing exactly that. CZs and 5.7s across the board, along with 4 sets of armor. The one thing lacking, Mark, is going to be utility in my eyes. I don't like the idea of going at it with no utility whatsoever, even on a force.
No, definitely not, and that's quite a worrying thing that you've got to try and deal with on Cobblestone. It can be a huge advantage having some extra utility just to slow things down. Otherwise, for example, over towards the B site, it's so get in there and barrel towards the back of the site, and then to try and undig a team from that kind of position, then it really is tough. And I'm sure later on we'll see the AWP come into play and we'll see what kind of effect that has, but during these very early stages it's a chance for the working men to fill their boots and put together as many easy rounds as they can. Stanley might have an early chance though to take down Jacob, and that's going to help if the working men want to go and walk in and reveal themselves like that, and it's advantage to FM here. They might be able to pull it back.
I mean, something else I was going to mention which might help them even further is the fact that we saw 3 Mac 10s brought up at the beginning of this round from the working men. They're still going to have 2 on the board, and if they're going up against players with head armor, those just are not the guns you're going to want to be using. But initially we do see some success before Stanley T comes in, finds himself 2. Still going to be the advantage to the working men. Vertigo and Robin left. Only Som to contest, and he's not going to be able to get anything done whatsoever, unfortunately for him. Still, a decent amount of damage done. A lot of economy taken away in the form of armor and nades. But ultimately a fairly good round for FM just in terms of what they managed to find. The working men's still going to be good. And actually we're going to be seeing more AKs well this round. This is the round you expect to see the Mac 10s in my opinion. You know, there's no armor on the board. They could quite easily do damage. Instead they choose to go with the rifles, and if they run into the P250s, that could be even more money lost early on.
Yeah, that is definitely true. As Robin, though, he makes use of his Mac 10 to pick up the frag, taking down Neil, and Robin with his second, well, that's Hudge G, and Chat gets a frag with the rifle. Comes in Som, though, nice work with the pistol, taking down Cryptics. And, those Mac 10 frags, it's a 200% kill bonus for him as Chat gets his second on the board, so that's going to help and just boost the numbers a little bit going forward. So the working men to take the advantage, and it doesn't matter all that much. Rifles and Mac 10s combined did the job. Will we see Vertigo upgrade to the AWP? I think we will.
Nope.
No. Okay, P90. Fast round it is.
It's close. One of the maps you can get away with it on, I think. One of the few. I saw a pretty interesting game on Cobble where the 2 players using P90s every round as a remedy to lag managed to top frag, so maybe a little bit of a chance. But initially we're going to be seeing Fry and Neilzinho starting things off. Chak and Vertigo already down. Robin seeing what he can do, and that is going to be to find 2 beautiful frags, 2 beautiful headshots, and even things right up. That's going to be helping the bomb go down. as they do manage to find themselves at the site. The problem at the moment for them, they don't have too much utility left. They're just going to be throwing down what they have. So it gives FM a lot of time to wait if they want to wait. Coming into the retake, obviously in the advantage position, but still going to be dropping players. Stanley down next, and suddenly a 2 versus 2, and now a 2 versus 1, as it is just Som on 20 points of health. Manages to find one, but going to be difficult to find the other one, as Jacob is going to be expecting it.
Yeah, it is, and it does get picked up, so Working Men get the first buy versus buy, if you like, despite a few little mistakes. I think Vertigo might have jumped on the head of one of the players up close and gave away his position and got picked off, but despite losing 2 players early on, they were able to bring it home with some nice work starting off from Robin, and from there, it was just an easy hold. It feels like FM are just going a little bit one at a time on these attempts for the retakes, and they're putting themselves in positions where they're going to get caught out, which is exactly what Stanley might be in a position of here. He's just peeking the angle, trying to do the best he can as Chak takes down Fry over towards the other side as well. So the Working Men back up with another pick. And Jacob, if he wants to try and push through, Huds G, his position's given away. Cryptic's has got 2 players trying to challenge him. He's already taken down 1 and taken Huds G down to about 50 points of health. And he's going to try and step out and get in a better position. Nice shot though, really nice stuff.
Yeah, and actually, again, more damage done than you might expect, and they're going to be looking to keep that up. Huds G comes in with another with the P250. That's 3 in the round so far, and he's not done yet. Pushes around to the site, sees what he can do to get in the way of that bomb plant, and actually manages to keep both players up on plat. So now the boost coming in, it's a little bit of a chance to reposition, and maybe a chance to find more, but the fire's going to do the damage. Huds drops to a Molotov and leaves Stanley with a 5-7 in a 1 versus 2 situation. Again, good damage done, but he is going to be wanting to do even more. Seeing what he can do, I assume, against whichever player decides to plant. There's going to be nades, and most importantly, there's going to be guns. Jacob takes him down for the 5th round for the Working Men consecutively to find its way onto the board. Fortunately, though, we are going to be able to see the full might of FM. In the last buy round, they were a little bit weak. Obviously, forcing up in the 2nd round doesn't leave you with a huge amount of money. This time, we're going to be seeing full nades, diffusers across the board, and an AWP on Huds.
Yeah, and Huds G, we've seen him put in some phenomenal performances with the AWP over towards the A site, pretty much playing it solo at times. And, you know, it's going to be interesting to see him work. And maybe going to be a chance, but with Chak getting the opening pick on Som over towards the B site. He's got his 2nd as well on Nilzinho. This is far too comfortable. So let's see what Huds can do on the rotate this time. It's going to be an interesting one. They don't seem to want to play an AWP over towards this B site. And just keep going for the early challenges. They're not coming off. See, Huds G is already thinking about the save. Him against Vertigo. These guys have both been around the block a fair few times, and I think we ought to see Huds G go for the save. So 6 very quick rounds to the Working Men. It is on the T side of Cobble, so there's an advantage there. This is their map pick, so you would expect a strong showing from them. But still, I mean, this is really good stuff to kick things off.
I think this is looking to get itself past the point of a strong showing right now. And something I noticed in this round, FM didn't seem to have a man dedicated to drop from the beginning. So essentially, one player tries to rotate in, gets taken out instantly, and Chak just keeps going. He finds himself 2 entries. From that point on, what are they going to be doing to come back into it? Not a huge amount. There's already a player out there to drop into connector to cut off the rotates, and he does it effectively. And unfortunately, it's too much for FM to handle. It just seemed a little bit hectic for them, I think, as soon as they lost those 2 players, as it would be.
Yeah, for sure. And from that point, you're always scrambling. It's pretty much, if you're going to lose anyone, you would maybe rather lose that player on T side than CT, because you've got to then worry about where your rotates are going to come from, cover those gaps as best as possible, and you're always going to be leaving things open. Interesting to pick up on the drop down. I think you're exactly right. If you can get drop down control on T side, it's kind of like having control on cash. It just opens up so many options for you, and for the CTs it kind of over towards the B site, it pincers them in from the A. They've got to then worry about all these extra angles that may or may not be coming, and you can take your eye off the ball for a side push, for example. So something they've got to be careful of, FM, and try and deal with it as best they can. But it's probably not going to be this round again, as Huds G saved the AWP from last time. He's the first to go down this time, and Working Men are going to try and make this 7.
I mean, you were saying put the AWP towards the B. It doesn't work out for them this round, and there's not going to be too much to back it up. Just pistols. Fortunately, it looks like it might be recoverable, as we are going to be seeing the Working Men rotate themselves off towards the A site, but recoverable and winnable are going to be 2 different situations in this round. If they don't get to A quickly, it's just going to be completely dominated, and how do you get the retake going with no kits, very minimal weaponry. At the moment, it's looking like they're not going to be able to. Stanley T already down. The bomb making its way over to the site. And 5 men still alive to defend it. I'd be surprised if we didn't see the AWP just saved into the next round once more, so that FM can have a nice full buyout.
Yeah, that's almost definitely the plan. Whether they'll be tempted to go for it, well, there's someone going down straight away to the hands of Cryptic, so that's another player picked up, and Neilzinho, well, he's put himself in a position. Not one of my, oh, God, he's gone and dropped the AWP. He's just standing out there in the middle of the site. What are you trying to do with that, bro?
Oh dear. Well, at this point, just I think the end of the round. I'm not sure what Fry is trying to do. He's sat around with his CZ, maybe looking for exits, but I don't think any are going to be coming his way, as all of the players seem to have already figured out where they're going. We're going to see players heading down mid, players already on the B side. He's just going to be left to hold on to that head armor into the next round, and it's something, but it's not much consolation for 7 rounds lost in a row, and if they can't pick something up soon, it's looking like that's just going to keep growing and growing and growing, because they have to reinvest everything once more. I mean, less than 1,000 on every single player. They're going to have max round loss bonus, but on CT side, that's not normally enough to carry you through to strong buys round after round. And it just looks to be falling apart.
It does, even though if they've got the first buy v buy, you've got to wonder how are they even going to hold this. The working men are probably working quicker than a lot of teams that we've been seeing in this tournament. They're playing on their T-side cobblestone, as they're just getting the opportunities to make those picks a little bit earlier. Robin down to 40 points of health, so that's going to maybe dent their chances a little bit, and they're playing it just that little more passive this time. Going to take their sweet time to look at the angles. Huds G playing solo over towards A might have an opportunity along mid, but you know, one problem if you're pretty much solo on the site, you've got to think about all angles, and you see straight away he can't sit there and peek that mid as much as he likes. He has to fall back. He has to think about maybe side. So it's getting pulled around a little bit, worried about the threat of the working men. And another threat as well is that the reset could come in if FM win a round and then lose it straight back, especially if they lose 2-3 players in the skirmish who might not be able to rebuy with the way things are. So perilous position for FM so far.
I'm glad you mentioned that. We haven't really touched on the working men's economy much, but it's looking great right now, and it might only be getting better because they are going to be taking the hit towards the B site, the less defended of the two, and the first frag comes in. First one to Neilzinho, and it's going to be responded quickly by Fry. Manages to pick one up for himself. We're going to be forced to fall back, go towards site, and fight it from a little bit of a passive angle. Smoke's coming out now, and they're being pushed from multiple sides, so Jacob has an easy pick for himself. Jack chipping in as well, with 2 again in the drop-down area. He seems unstoppable there, and he leaves just HUDG with the AWP, seeing what he can do. Not much time for that bomb to go down, but the working men, all they have to do at this point is hide and wait for him to come. I mean, we saw a little bit of aggression there from Jack, but I'm assuming we're going to be stopping seeing that now as he's readjusted his position, found where he wants to be. And from this point on, it's a waiting game. HUD's going to be pushing in. Scoped in at the wrong angle and taken down quickly. So an AWP recovered by the working men, another round on the board for them. And despite losing players, their economy just seems to be growing and growing right now. 13,000 on 2 of the players. We see it drop a little bit here, but still more than enough for them to buy at least 1 or 2 rounds, maybe even 3, if they lose. And that's exactly what you were talking about, Mark. The reset could come in. That's if there's anything to reset. This round, 3 FAMASs, and a Mag 7 on their side.
Scrubby buy. I guess Neilzinho maybe wants to try and get in a bit close, and with 1 frag to his name at this point after 8 rounds of counter forces, then he's going to be just keen to get a few frags on the board, I think. And one way you can either do that or that will work. Fry gets 1, and Som gets 1. Fry now at the back with the AWP now. Normally at that position over towards the chicken coop, you can get caught there, you can get flashed out, nade out, etc. But there's not too many players left to do that for the working men. Jacob here above, drop down, go try and work in from there. But he's got Neilzinho up close to his right with the Swag 7, could do some serious damage from that kind of range. So got to be careful and Vertigo with the AWP. You maybe wouldn't put it past him to get a pick if he gets the opportunity, but where is that going to come from as FM now suddenly look the much more comfortable over towards the B site, and they are going to now make their way over towards A and probably take on, is it Huds G there? No, it's not actually Huds G, it's Stanley over towards the A this time.
Smart decision, honestly. It's going to give them 1 man to deal with, and he's only got a FAMAS in his hands. They've still got utility, so they can block off those rotators before they can come in, and as long as they think about that, it should at least be a bomb plant for them. Even if they trade, Well, sorry, even if they don't trade, I'm not expecting them to hold off the retake because we do have some well-equipped CTs ready to come back in. Well, not so well-equipped, but numbers. Let's just go with that. We have large numbers of CTs waiting to come back in. And actually, rotate's coming in already, and Nilzinho is going to forget he has the Mag 7 and go for the long-range shot. Not going to land. Instead, manages to hit the one at close. Tags a player down and manages to allow his teammate to find the kill. So it's just going to be Vertigo. Seeing if he can plant on the ground and will manage, but unfortunately for him, there's a player right there as it goes. So FM looking like they're going to be, well, sorry, definitely at this point picked up their first round. It's just where does it go from here? You were talking about the reset. You were talking about how scary that can be. And they're going to have to think about it. They did leave with 3 players alive, so we should see a bike coming out of them. We're actually going to be seeing a double AWP. But if they don't make this one work, it could be curtains for the half.
Yeah, I think so. And you can look at 3 of their players, Stanley, Nilzinho and Som, who are, again, on a bit of a scrubby buy. Got a close-up shotgun, so it seems like this is the way that teams are starting to play it a little more. Nice flash there, stops Stanley and Huds G from taking a peek up towards shorts, and then they're going to drop back instead and play it slightly differently. That's side, not short. Sorry, my mistake. Yeah, 30 left to go on the clock, 9 rounds gone. That UK Masters group stage game. Got Train coming up after this as the second map, best of 2.
I mean, that's where I think they're going to have trouble to get themselves in at the moment, as again, it's not a great start. Nilzinho finds one with the auto shotty, but it's not going to be enough as he is traded upon very quickly indeed. And the 4 versus 4, as everybody knows, favors that T side, going to be giving them all the advantage they need into this round. And as well as that, only Cryptic's in a position he can't move back from. The rest of them, they can go wherever they want, and they are going to be taking it over to the A side. And actually, that leaves Cryptic's in the perfect position to cut off rotators, and it's just going to mean a horrible round for FM, just in the sense that they can't move anywhere on the map without being scared, and it is going to come down to Huds G's AWP. We're seeing him at the moment, looking around and hoping he can find something, but the Molly's coming and force him off position before he can get that angle, and so he's going to be on site instead, managing to find one, but it's not going to be any more than that. Instead, now down to Som and Fry to pick up the rest, and it is going to be a 2 versus 2, so a little bit of hope there. There's not much utility on the working men, so a little bit of hope there. The position going to be in their favor, but Fry starts things off nicely with a frag onto Shaq, and it's going to be Jacob now in the 1 versus 1 with his man to try and pick it up. Can't quite do it. FM from the brink of destruction come back with a second round, stop themselves being reset, but still not going to be in a great position. That's what's painful about this. They're going to continue just teetering on the edge of economic destruction until something goes horribly wrong.
Yeah, for sure. That's what happens when you end up losing 4 players. You know, that was narrowly going to have gone in the direction of the working men, even possibly. Aside from that one little 50-50, maybe Jacob could have waited it out a little bit longer against the AWP, who knows, and have played the angles, but one of those things. It hasn't quite gone their way, but it nearly did, and they're now going for maybe a fast strat to try and get out and make an early pick again, like they have to do during the early stages. Som gets one, Jack Braid straight back now, and they're on their way out into the site and try and get to the back and get some control. You wouldn't put it past the working men to out-frag some of these FM players from how things have been going so far, but maybe this is the turnaround and the chance for FM eSports to get themselves back into this game. Nilzinho up close. Stanley now, he might have a chance to come from behind. He's got one. He will be called off, but Fry is also going to get a pick as well, doing some damage. So it looks like all Cryptics is shaky neck to pick up a couple of frags. It does go the way of FM. Another scrappy one, though.
I think the majority of rounds here being fairly scrappy. I mean, I'm scrolling through them in the tab menu at the moment. There's only a couple of rounds I can find where more than 3 players have stayed alive on either team. So it seems to have been a close game from the offset, and I think it will continue to be. The working men now going to be coming in with what I think personally is the worst buy we've seen from them. A little bit reminiscent of their 4th round by the first come round, where they are going to be having Vertigo back on that P90, and the rest of them just making do with AKs. And a little bit of limited utility. Still, obviously, extremely possible. And they're going to be taking over the A side early this round. A little bit of a change-up, and maybe it's going to be good for them. Shaq finds the first. Going to be looking to see if he can take down Huds G as well, and makes it work. But they're still going to have 2 to contend with here. Som, seeing what he can do now from up high with the FAMAS, going to be picking up 2. And suddenly, things are even once again.
Cryptics might have a play to make here. He goes for it, and he does take down Fry. So that's one of the rotators, and now got to worry about Cryptics coming in. So Nilzinho has probably got the call. he knows he's going to have someone kind of eyeing him up around about the connector, and there's actually someone on the platform. That's Som, so nice to take him down. His position actually will have been known for the 2 frags that he got over towards the stables, and Nilzinho is grabbed as well. So it is going to be 9-3 for the working men. Finances absolutely screwed for FM eSports. Nilzinho down at 3-12. You know, one of the biggest standout names still kicking around in UKCS from the good old days, which is more than a little surprising. And FM are potentially staring down the barrel of going down 12-3. There's so much pressure on that pistol round.
It's always scary. They still have a little bit of a chance. They're going to be poor this round, but next round we should be able to see at least 3 of the players get a fairly decent amount of money. If not that round, then it's going to be the next. So they have a chance to push something, but it's going to be extremely close. As you were pointing out, this round not going to be going that way either. 2 frags already coming in, both from Cryptics, and unfortunately for FM, it's not a position you want to be in. With the pistols, you want to be doing at least a little bit of damage for the investment, and they've not managed so far. HudsG is going to be the first. Does find himself an AK, but there's going to be 3 Ts staring him in the face in that corner, and he's not going to be able to stare back. The flash, so perfect, blinds him fully, and leaves just his teammate with the CZ, trying to come in from behind, seeing what he can do to make any sort of play possible, and at this point, the most he can really hope for is exits.
Yeah, at best, just try and do what kind of damage you can, but there was so few rounds left, 2 rounds left. I don't think the working men have got to worry about finance for these last 2. Survive with all aside from 1 going down, so Jacob's going to rebuy, full utility kicking round. For FM, they can cobble together what they can, but we've got Swag 7, P90, limited utility, not full head armor all around. Not a huge issue against the AK, so to be fair, or the AWP, which is going to be one-shot headshot if they're on point with it. So, you know, that's one thing they can do without. Yep,
no kits as well. That's the scariest thing for me. As soon as the site goes now, they're basically out of it unless they can get in extremely quickly, and that's going to be a rushed retake, which is not something you want.
It is not. Barreling straight in. No, I think I'll pass on that. Through smoke, fire, whatever these guys have got to throw down, that is risky as. HudsG in a bit of trouble. Does manage to pick up a frag though on Chak because he's taken down to 19 points of health. Vertigo with the AWP. He's going to try and pick up that frag if he can. HudsG maybe going to be wise not to expose himself too much, but you see him playing in close. He might have... he's got Jacob really close, and he's going to need some work, but he's going to be... Oh, no, HudsG able to come away with it. Nice work from Jacob, though, picking up that first frag, I think.
Yeah, Jacob focusing on his teammates. Still manages to pick up 1 before he dies, and it's going to be frags raining in thick and fast now. Try the next man up. Going to be taking one out. So trades across the board until it's a 2v2 situation. You're actually going to have an early 1 versus 1 on this B bomb site. If Fry decides to peek, he's going to be staring straight down the barrel of Robin, but he makes it work. He finds the shot, and he leaves Vertigo in a position nobody wants to be in. He has an AWP, he has the bomb, he has a little bit of utility left, but he is not going to be happy with that. The B site may be his, but the retake not going to be easy, especially with that weapon. You can't watch more than 1 angle at once, really. He's going to have to position himself perfectly and just hope he hits both of those shots. And I think we're going to be seeing them encroach right now. He's taken a long time to get that bomb down, so they should have a fairly good idea of what's going on, and I think they're just going to be waiting for that noise and moving in. They know that he has to stick it now. I'm wondering why Nilzinho didn't just go straight in for the peek there. But in the end, he's going to be popping out just in time, and the shot's missed from Vertigo, so he picks it up. So, another close round, another round. FM were, I think, lucky to win. If that little flick had have connected there on plat, would have been a different story. Would have been 11-3 right now, and the working men are still going to have money to buy into the next round with, and they're still going to be able to try and take it to 11-4, which is still pretty daunting in my opinion.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, you're 1 pistol away from, you know, pretty much staring down the barrel every single round, and that's a lot of pressure to be dealing with. And you can see for FM, even despite picking that one up, they lost pretty much everybody bar 1, actually, Nilzinho, so they're pretty screwed as far as finances go. Vertigo with the AWP, 2v1 clutch, tough ass for him. You know, he's not really had too much chance to warm up with that AWP. He's hardly had anyone to make a pick on, to be fair. And Robin and Chak work together well, and Chak also picking up some, so it's going to be, oh no, there's Chak going down to Nilzinho, which picks back the advantage just a little bit, but it is 4-3 before the working men go try and make it 11-4 if they can. Nilzinho might be in a bit of trouble behind Chicken Coop as soon as he reveals himself there. They're going to be looking in his direction as Huds G takes down Robin 3v3. Vertigo with his AWP grabbing Stanley. So they keep trading, but it keeps landing in favour of the working men here.
Yeah, and this last round, not one that FM want to be giving up. Hud's going to be rotating over to the A site. He knows what's coming. Great game sense there, but can he stop it from happening? You know, it's that idea. If you can predict the future, is it worth it? If you can't stop it at the moment, he's not going to get too much of a chance. He's going to be looking to see if he can find one player there in stables, but gets caught off by Jacob. Taken out, and suddenly it's down to Nilzinho with the AWP. He's already managed to find one this round, so he could be looking to do more, but there's going to be a timer on the retake as well. He has a kit, but Cryptix is going to be coming in from behind, or at least... Actually, no. I was thinking Cryptix was going to be coming in from behind the whole time, seeing what he can do. Instead, he's going to go the long way. And leave a little bit of a chance FM player, but unfortunately, it's not to be. 11-4 is the score at half-time, and as you said, one pistol round, if you hit the 2 conversions up as well, you're going to be 2 away. And that's a little bit too close when FM have this much work to do.
Yeah, it really is tough, and you're up against it here. You see 4 of them going with the silenced USP, so it's an interesting weapon if you're on point with it and your aim is crisp, which mine certainly isn't, that's why I don't use it. But if you can get on point with the headshots, then you can counter the advantage of an onrushing rain of Glock bullets coming in from the T's. It's maybe slightly easier, but here we go. They've got a couple on the round already. Cryptix and Vertigo with a frag each for Nilzinho. Gets one back. Robin now coming, trying to do some damage. Hutchie and Stanley, though, end up picking up frags, and FM have a slender advantage. 3v2. Jacob now coming in, trying to do some damage. He's got a few bullets, literally, in that weapon, so he's got to make these count. But Stanley's down to 9 HP, and Jacob's got 2, so it's 2v1. Nilzinho with the bomb on the site. They're going to try and chase him down if they can. Jacob going for it. He must be pretty much clean out now, but he's picked up his 3rd. Defuse is going to come in, you would expect. Got himself a kit, and we're looking at the beginning of the end for Cobblestone.
I mean, a round that FM shouldn't have lost as well. They had the advantage, as you were pointing out. If they had have played it passive, if they had have just held the angles, set up a crossfire, tried to make sure they traded every single player, they would have come out on top instead. 1v1s are found in the end, a 2v1 is found, and unfortunately those just aren't situations they seem to be winning on this map tonight. The working men pushed themselves a little bit further and are going to be coming into the second round with a lot bought up. Vertigo actually opting for the Nova. Now that's not something I think I see enough of, but it's not going to be him we're watching initially. It is going to be Robin. MP9 versus armored players, but the nade is softening them up nicely, going to allow them to find at least 2, and then Jacob with the M4 going to be picking up the 3rd in the round, leaving Huds G and Nilzinho to try and get something back for their team again. The MP9 recovered on 1, but not the best weapon in the game, and he is going to now be the last player left alive. Still manages to find a frag with it, and he's continuing to do damage, continuing to scare them, until finally he does drop. We are going to be seeing the M4 recovered. So nothing too major happening with the CT economy here. The FM doing I'd say a decent amount of damage for what they came into that round with, and still going to be able to buy up in the 3rd, which is fairly impressive in and of itself.
Yeah, good stuff there, making full use of that bomb plant they got in the 1st round. Also a little nod to chat for the long-range jump as Nilzinho goes down straight away, so that's 1 player down. Robin's getting a little bit aggressive towards the mid, but he gets away with it. He's still got the weapon advantage against a couple of these players and made it count there. And still the AKs might have given him a little bit of a challenge, but M4 against AK, it's a fair fight. We've got a potential boost coming in, and Jacob could have done some serious damage from that boost from Chak up in the drop down, but instead he's going to fall out and leave it to Vertigo to keep an eye on. And here they come now into drop down. Stanley's got 1, and Fry, nice fight, he's taking down a player as well, so they've got control. Jacob, though, he does some serious damage, taking down Fry from up top. You do have a very slim advantage when you're on the bottom. You maybe see the head just a little bit quicker. And Jacob now, he's already got 2. He's going to be under fire from the remaining 2 players from FM eSports. And Jacob gets the tag again. He's got 3 before he's eventually grabbed by Huds G. 2v1. Robin, you can pretty much breathe on him and he's going down.
Well, I think that's the point here. 2 versus 1. Actually not as bad as you'd think. for HUDG is he is going to have one player from either site. The problem is, while he's not moving, while he's playing it slow in this last 30 seconds, he's going to have players moving on him, and Cryptix is already in the perfect angle to shut him down. 64 HP, not going to be doing much for you if you're caught from behind. Cryptix does exactly that, hits the headshot, manages to find the frag, and takes the working men to 14 rounds, and it's worse than I initially thought. Because that was a buy round, because they managed to get the AKs up and they still lost it, it's going to be just a pistol, maybe a pistol armor if they can eke it out to take them, well, to be their attempt, rather, to keep it off of match point. And it looks like the working men might just be taking that here for 15-4. From there, it's gonna be a mountain, I think is the nicest way I can put it for FM. It's gonna be a mountain, it's gonna be difficult. There's always that slight chance. I prefer to think about that.
Yeah, and that is true. A chance, and a slim one. I think you pretty much nailed it on the head, but we'll just have to see how they want to go and play this, I think. And it's a bit of a tough one. I mean, trying to work out what you can suggest to FM, it's very difficult. They've lost a few rounds where they should have ended up winning them. They're getting out-fragged far too often, pretty much in 1v1 picks, and there are little things you could pick up on, like, oh, maybe they're going in a bit one at a timey when they're retaking a site, or maybe they should sit back and not get too aggressive too early. But they've not done anything which is vastly wrong. It's just the odd things here and there, and the working match has been running away with this thing.
I think it's one of those. There's two types of CS matches, aren't there? When you watch, there's either one where one team plays better than the other one, or there's one where a team plays worse than the other team. And they're distinctly different in the sense that one of them is just people making mistakes and throwing away round after round after round until they lose. The other is just whichever team's winning happens to be better on that day, on that map, whatever it is. They're just playing a better game of CS, and that to me feels like what this map has been. The working men just playing a better game of CS on Cobble. There is still Train. I want to stress that. There is still Train, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm fairly sure that this is the working men's map pick.
Yeah, it is.
So there's still a chance for FM to come back into this and at least draw it up if this one does indeed go to the working men in the end.
Yeah, and it is possible, and if anything else, just get a few rounds of pride, and I'm sure these guys have already been getting their practice in and they are warmed up as such, but maybe just a chance to hit a couple of frags, get used to the server, and let's try and drag it out a little bit and get themselves ready and informed to take on their map, which is Train. And Train, been plenty of teams that don't look particularly drilled on it, and not a common choice in a lot of map pools. I think a lot of teams are scared of their Train, so if FM have got plenty of things that they can offer on it on both sides, then maybe that's their chance to really hammer things home. As Robin, though, he's taken two already with a chance for more, and he's actually just trading off there 2 for 1 instead. But two players out towards the mid. They know it's going to be on an eco. Fry has now grabbed himself a rifle as Vertigo. He tries to get aggressive from over towards the other site, taking down Son with a P90. Just going to try and apply the squeeze on these remaining two players, and Jacob is there to clean up. Jacob actually leading the charge. 25-8 is his score. 21-11 Robin following closely behind. And yeah, all very good stuff from the working men. Look far too easy. And it's going to come down to this buy versus buy. Probably the final one. Or possibly, I should say, sorry, the final one that we'll see for this map.
Yeah, possibly. They are going to have a double off on the working men's side, so that's obviously always going to be an advantage. A little bit of an issue in my eyes in the form of P90, but again, I said it earlier, it's a positional weapon. If you're playing it in the right spot, you've still got a great chance, and it's only going to be furthered by that initial pick. Cryptic coming up huge, finds one, finds the second and the bomb with it, and still just waiting how much more damage he can do. A third frag comes in, and Vertigo's there to mop up the trade. Now it's just one left AK in hand, and he's not going to be able to do anything. The AK shot to the head, going to be a little bit too much for him to handle, and it will be the working men running away with that one, 16-4.
Cryptix, the confidence, just standing on that box, picking players off, and gets 3 frags out of it. And that could maybe unstick them in the second map if they continue to play that, and it doesn't quite go their way. But they are a team in form. That is quite clear.